It is December 13th. We are about just a little bit more than 24 hours away from the start of week 15. And usually, when we do these shows, we're talking about the playoff landscape as it relates to obviously Detroit, the division leader, June Foster, our Detroit representatives from Bleachers to Speakers, Dave, our Vikings correspondent, First and Skull, you following up on the Lions, your team, following them up in the standings. And as of late, it's been Green Bay bringing up the playoff rear for the division. But guess what, fellas? I gotta let you all in on a little secret. As of right now, these your Chicago Bears are in the hunt. We are officially jumping into that playoff conversation at 5-8. I can't tell you at 5-8, we are one game behind those same Green Bay Packers for the last playoff spot in NFC. Fellas, I know I don't sound too excited, but guys,
Oh, there's a few 6 and 7 teams ahead of you. But yes, you are one game behind the Green Bay Packers.
it's a game of inches, Dave. It's a game of inches.
And
Anything
how it all plays out in those last 4 weeks is going to be interesting.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we could talk about, the last 4 weeks, the last month of the season as we get along in this show. But this is that time you separate pretenders from contenders. And I do want to start this show talking about the overall contender as it relates to the playoff picture. Detroit, Steve Foster, my man June. How was your week 14?
It sucked. Pretty much sucked.
It-
Nothing surprising here in Detroit.
Mhm,
That's how we
mhm,
do.
mhm.
So it just wasn't what we'd like to see. Um, am I shocked? No. Am I disappointed? Yes. So
Disappointed is a word. It is a good word as it relates. I was being tongue in cheek right there when I asked you how's your week 14, feel for you because I had a little bit to do with that. Well, at least my team did. For the first time since 2021, the Chicago Bears have won back-to-back division games. This has been a good, if all intents and purposes, it's been a good season for us. We're not used to this type of wins as of late. B. Foster, though, you guys, you had a good lead. You came out and you just, I'm not sure what you make of golf. I remember the first time the Bears and Lions played. You were kind of apprehensive about Jared Goff and his future performances as it relates to taking care of the ball. So as it stands now, with a couple of more turnovers in his last game, how are you feeling about your prospects going forward?
He's definitely getting exposed right now. It's kind of the next couple games is gonna be major for him. I don't have any doubts that we're gonna make the playoffs, but at this point, I need to. Well, starting next week, I need to see a a pretty big game from him. We'll be coming home. We'll be in the perfect elements of Ford Field. We're going against a team that's defense has done better as of late. They shut down Herbert, or they hurt Herbert, but overall, they don't rank very well outside of the red zone and on third down. But I need to see something from Golf because he's expecting a big paycheck coming pretty soon. And we got a rookie quarterback that's close to healthy, and Teddy Bridgewater. It, and it just it's tough to say whether or not he's really the guy of the future when we got weapons that can't get the ball when they need it, especially down the field. Um, Not to mention he's not very fleet of foot, and our offensive line just isn't very strong right now. So we need for him to step up and do what needs to be done. That's why they pay the quarterbacks the big bucks to handle business. So that's where I'm at with Goff.
June, you feel the same way? He's got to step it up, or it's time to move in another direction.
Step it up or step down. One of the two. He's not getting it done. Over the last 7 weeks, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 5 fumbles.
Ooh. Yeah, ball security is a premium in this league now. You can't be giving the opposite team that many times, that many chances to have possession. Possessions are very, very valuable. Yeah, I agree. Step up or step off. Elsewhere in the division, Dave, your Minnesota Vikings. And before we get to the big news of the week so far, your Minnesota Vikings played. I believe it was in Arizona, right? No, I remember
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. That's right. Oh, you know what? I forgot because that game. If you asked me, did that game even start? I would have lied to you. I do not know. Yeah, the Minnesota Vikings went to Vegas, played the Raiders, and the first and only points of the game happened at the end of regulations. Am I right?
You are right. It was a dreadful game. The play script went punt, 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 halftime punt, 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 punt. And then we finally scored. I may have, but I know we had 8 punts, and I think the Raiders had at least 8, if not 9. It was miserable. Our starting quarterback for the game, Joshua Dobbs, the Pastronaut. You can take the P off the front of his nickname. That's what he was. He was pulled, and in the third quarter, late third quarter, early fourth, and we now have our regular backup, Nick Mullins. He came in and helped drive to where we were within scoring position in the last couple minutes, kicked a field goal. We went on to win. But during the game, it was so bad, and I mean so bad, that the commentators on TV were researching feverishly as to when was the last 0-0 tie in the NFL. 1943, when most of the NFL players were off in World War II. That was the last 0-0 tie. But luckily, we did not have that happen. We did score that field goal and won another one-score game. And only this time it was literally a one-score game.
Yeah, it sounded pretty bleak. I didn't click into that game often on Sunday. I don't even think Red Zone showed it anything at any point. You have to get into the red zone for we get eyeballs, right? Yeah, it didn't sound that right. And as you alluded, the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs, he's not expected to start this coming week, is he?
No, they've already announced Nick Mullins as the starter.
Nick Mullins.
He'll be our 4th starting quarterback of the season.
Blast from the past, Nick Mullins. You feel like Nick Mullins has been around the league for a long time.
Quite a few years. He started out in San Francisco. He won some games out there. It's just that he was supposed to come in once Kirk Cousins got hurt, but he was already on IR with a bruised up back from earlier in training camp.
Okay. All right. So I'll play Packer man, since I did preview the game this last week, and I said I expect the Packers to win. I expect them to cover, and in perfect Packer fashion, keeping the Bears alive. DeVito, Tommy DeVito, and the Magic, the Giants Magic. They beat him in his not historic fashion, but in crucial fashion with a game-winning field goals to end the game, just like Prince Hakeem had foretold in Coming to America. It That game was a little bit more entertaining, I say the least. Well, not because I'm a Bear fan and I love to see the Packers lose, but that professional quarterback that we always talk about, Jordan Love, looked like he came back to earth a little bit. Him and without Christian Watson out there to save some of those bad passes, they look average yet again. Am I seeing it wrong, guys? Did you all see the same thing?
That's what I saw. It was an exciting finish, and I was yelling and swearing at the Packers when they went up and scored. And, there was a little over a minute left for the Giants to drive down.
Yeah.
But what a finish. What a finish for the good guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
good guys.
He did make some throws that last drive he had. He made some plays. I don't want to give Jordan Love any credit whatsoever. So, but he actually is turning out to be better than what I give him credit for.
We don't need that, Joe. We don't need that. We don't need that. We need him to be just good enough that they do not decide to draft a quarterback in the next year or so. Just good enough that then he can go off a cliff. 39 attempts for barely over 200 yards passing against the Giants defense. Defense is not really scaring anybody as of late. With a turnover and a fumble. Well, yeah, 2 turnovers, I'm not mistaken. It's again, he came back to earth. I never thought he was a great quarterback. Professional quarterback is the exact term for him. He doesn't play in college. That is correct. He is a professional quarterback. A good quarterback, he is not.
Well, there's only a limited amount of professional quarterbacks if you figure 3 per team. Mm-hmm. So that gives you a little 90, 100 of them that exist in the world.
Yeah. I mean, take nothing away from him. He is one of the elite quarterbacks in the world. Yes, he is one of 90 who could be a professional quarterback. I envy him for that purpose. Other than that, I put him in the bottom. I put him somewhere between 26 and 58, somewhere in that space.
Speaking of quarterback play, today I'm hearing a lot about your quarterback pay. Do the Bears, have they made a decision on Justin Fields?
I hope they haven't. I hope they have not made a decision. The decision on Justin Fields is ever evolving. It needs to be not made until our last play of the season, whether that's in week 18 or whether that's somewhere in the playoffs. If it makes its way to the playoffs, we have a conversation. We have a different conversation to have. But under no circumstances should Poles or Warren or anybody else in the Bears front office and executive suite should be done evaluating Justin Fields. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be decided on. And as you know, this is the time of year that you're evaluating college quarterbacks, college prospects. They got all their bowl games going on. There's a kid who will not be playing in the Holiday Bowl. I won't say his name, so you can't really evaluate him. However, there are other prospects who are still out there to be evaluated. You need to be doing all your work, all your due diligence. Do not make a decision early. That is a dereliction of duty, and that is a reason to get you fired. Don't do it. Justin has been playing a lot better the last, let's see, since week 5. Since week 5, the Bears are 5-4. I would say Justin played great football when he has been available during that space. other than that one bad half he had against the Vikings, your team, Dave, before he got hurt. Um, he's played his best. That was his best stretch of ball in his career. He's got 3 straight games without an interception for the first time in his career. He's had his first 300-yard passing game in that stretch. And these things sound like, arrow pointing up. These are great things. However, it is his 3rd season. So you can't praise this without taking away the past too. Like something, we got to make a whole determination on everything. And if they make a determination this early, when we still got 4 weeks to go, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You still got work to do. But moving on, we do have a week 15 coming up. Like I said, it's just over 24 hours. So you two gentlemen, June, Dave, and Foster Child, you all have Saturday night games. Saturday games in period, because only one of you all play at prime time. The other one's a noon setup game. So at noon, that is Detroit Lions, right? They play at noon.
No,
We play at night.
do.
Oh, you all on a primetime game. Thank you.
The Vikes opened it up Saturday at
Good.
the Bengals.
The Vikings open it up at the Bengals. Dave, you were telling me backstage before you started the show, there is some interesting stats about the history between the Bengals and the Vikings.
Mhm.
You all have played how many times? 7 times?
14 times
14.
total. We don't play that often because we're, they're AFC, we're NFC, and they've usually stunk when we've been good and vice versa. And we don't play that often. We played 14 times. And right now it sits at 7-7.
7-7. So it's a something got to give game. Rubber meets the road. How do you see your team's chances with Nick Mullins starting versus the Cincinnati Bengals, who are sans one of the best quarterbacks in the league as well, Joe Burrow?
I think we have a chance, even though Nick Mullins isn't the greatest quarterback. He's a typical backup quarterback. He's going to win you some games. He does play with timing. He's sort of like Kirk Cousins light. He knows the system. He's a drop back passer. However, he will run if he has to, but that's not part of his game. He likes to sling it every once in a while. He's not as accurate as Kirk Cousins. He's just Kirk Cousins light. I think he gives us a decent chance to win. Their defense isn't the greatest. They are very what's the word? Open to giving up explosive plays. And hopefully with a combination of Justin Jefferson, who will be playing, he sort of announced that to a kid. They were doing a Christmas event and filming as they were buying toys for these kids. And the kid asked him, "Are you going to play Saturday?" And he says, "Yes, I'm going to play Saturday." And the team got all upset because they didn't want to let people know that. But he's going to play Saturday. It's going to be an interesting game. It's in Cincinnati. It's the last of our outdoor games before the playoffs, or possibilities of outdoor games before the playoffs. And it should be relatively close. Cincinnati's got Jake Browning. He's played relatively well over the last couple weeks. Some people think he's playing very good. I tend to think, well, you got to look at the defenses he went up against, but he will be. It's not going to be a cakewalk game. Not at all. And we better have more offensive production this Saturday than we did last week, because if we don't, we're done. Forget it. Put the poker in it. It's done. But I do believe we will have that this week. Everything will be more like it normally is. And it should be a decent, fun game to kick off the Saturday lineup.
Last time these two teams got together, Cincinnati and Minnesota, September 18th, 2005. Cincinnati won 37-8. That's an interesting score right there, 37-8. I got a question for you, Dave. Who gets more receiving yards, Jamar Chase or the
JJ.
aforementioned JJ? Oh, you said that real quick. You know,
There's only one JJ.
only one. Oh,
No, and that's on. After we record this show tonight, I have the Real Forno show on my channel on Vikings First and Skol, and we have a guest from Sports Illustrated, one of their writers on the Bengals side. He's going to be there, and that is one of the exact questions: is who is going to play better, Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? Who's going to have the bigger day? I'm hoping it's Justin Jefferson. If it was Kirk Cousins with him, I'd throw a C note on that sucker.
mhm.
But since it's not, I'm not so sure. My mind says it should be JJ, though.
Okay. I mean, I'm not confident. I will keep my C notes in my pocket for that type of gamble. So I wish you all the luck. I want to keep you all in it. You know, you're saying you lose this game, stick a fork in, you're done. It's wide open. The wild card is wide open. NFC. I don't believe it, but
Oh, yeah.
again,
And if we win and we keep winning, Detroit needs to worry about it.
Stick a fork in him. You're right. Stick a fork in him.
Detroit. You all also play Saturday night football. I like the ring of that. You all are welcoming the Denver Broncos, the scorching hot Denver Broncos. They are 7-6. They were trash. This is the last month of the season. The first month and a half of the season, they were abysmal. It feels like it was a long time ago they gave up 70 points.
Oh,
But
wow. Yeah.
they are coming into Ford Field. You all are
They're not
licking your.
scorching hot. They lost their last game. I'm sorry, I had to interject there.
Sorry, they won their last game, but over the span of the last 7 weeks, they've won 6. It's pretty. They've got something cooking. I think my opinion of the team might be different from yours, but
Very.
we talk about that a little different, at a different time.
Yeah.
B, how do you all see your all's chances this weekend, this Saturday against the Denver Broncos?
We have a very good chance. I mean, they're not invincible. They have a decent defense. They have an offense that remains to be desired. If they didn't lose their last game, they lost the game before that, and they didn't look too well. So
They lost to the Texans.
Yeah.
They did beat the Chargers though.
And they barely beat us.
They beat y'all by 1 point.
Yeah, by 1 point. We basically beat ourselves on that one.
It's not like we're going into a Dallas game or Frisco game or Philly game. So, but not to, downplay anybody, because like I said, we can lose to anybody on any given day and something like that happens. But this is a must-win game for the Lions. And I think they answer the bell.
B, you see it the same way? Must win?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to regain some momentum. We did beat the Saints, but we did not like the Packers' performance, of course, and then we didn't like either Bear performance. We squeaked out the LA Charger game, but if we have any hopes of not limping into the playoffs, we need to get back right against Denver. I feel like our offense hit rock bottom versus the Bears. Goff had 2 interceptions and fumbled on a snap. And this is kind of a put up or shut up game for Ben Johnson. He's been heavily celebrated as an offensive guru. We know he's going to be a head coach real soon, but he can't have any more games where Amon-Ra St. Brown has 3 catches for 21 yards. Sam Laporta had 2 catches for 23 yards. Our running backs did very well. Gibbs and Montgomery were pretty serviceable. But Jamison Williams had 1 target, 0 catches.
and Goff looked like he was, he might have been running a little bit of mud because it wasn't in Chicago, and we know how y'all feel it is. But he's got to answer the bell if he wants to be known as amongst the, top-notch quarterbacks. You got guys like Daniel Jones and Mac Jones and Daniel Jones, guys that got paid a whole bunch of money and did not live up to their contracts thus far. And the Lions do not want to fall into that trap either, especially given the glaring weaknesses. And now I'm back on Goff, but some of the glaring weaknesses that he has displayed. So I think that we put up a lot of points against the Broncos with us being inside the dome and Ben Johnson's back being against the wall, and we get back on get back on the horse, because I think we'll probably split with Minnesota and we'll probably lose to Dallas, to be honest. So the Denver game is somewhat of a must-win game in my eyes, if we have any hopes of doing anything in the playoffs.
Wow. I see the way I define must win is like, if you don't win, there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So hearing
but you got to feel the energy in Detroit right now.
If the Lions lose Saturday, there is no tomorrow amongst the Lions fan base. They are ready. This thing was ready to blow up after the game Sunday. I've heard quotes.
We will not win another game.
We won't win another game this year.
Playoffs, regular season.
It's the fan base is so used to those scenarios where
pessimistic.
It's just,
they've been trained over decades.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. My whole life. Like, let's put it out to my entire life.
That's why you'll never see me and Foster get too high on the Lions. You never see us get too low. It's one game at a time, and what happens. Because we know, get too high, let down. Get too low, and they do great things. So we just take it one game at a time. You don't hear us trash talk, because we know what it is.
But it's rational. It's not emotional. It's rational. We looking at it from the game to game basis and analyzing the trends and everything else. So it's not like just like it's not emotional. It's not too emotion based or too historically based. We just looking at what we got in front of us.
Yeah. I mean,
so
look at it like this, Pay. Let me paint a better picture, right? Let's say the Lions lose to Denver, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you have to face a Minnesota team that's trying their best to get where you're at.
Right.
Okay. Meanwhile, you're in a 2-game slump looking for answers. You don't want to face a hungry team like that. Then you have to play Dallas in Dallas. Then you have to come back and play Minnesota again.
And Dallas could possibly be playing for the number 1 slot by that point. I think by that point. So
this is why this game is so important. They have to win this game.
Back against the wall, last game of the year in Detroit. We don't want we don't want that.
I hear you. I hear you talking. I understand. I understand sports pessimism. Trust me, I do. If you see the name across my shirt, I have it in spades. The only thing with me is, and I guess I'll take the opposite argument here. If you do lose those games that you're forecasting, if you lose to Denver, you lose to Dallas, and you split with Minnesota, that's still 10-7.
No,
that was still
2-11. We got 9, right? We got 9 wins.
Yeah, 9. You're 9-4 now.
So we split, the last 2, and
So that puts you at 10-7. That will still lock you in at the number 3 spot, number 3 seed for the playoffs, which you are right now. As of recording this on December 13th, you're still the number 3 seed. So to me, you don't really lose anything. You're still gonna have that same first first round opponent that you would have right now, given whatever happens, beneath you.
You're saying
So
if we
I understand.
split, you're saying, right?
That's if you split. But
Right.
I'm going off what you said. You said you all split with Minnesota. I don't see
If
don't see
both
Minnesota
of us
sweeping
are
you.
10-7,
No. We have 9 wins, correct?
Yeah.
So so we would have 11 at the end.
you'd have 11.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm saying that's why I say Denver is a must win, because if we don't beat Denver, then we probably won't win 2 of the next 3. I'm thinking.
Well, even if you do, if you end up 10-7 and we're 10-7, I think we win the tiebreaker because we have more conference wins. We'll end up with more conference wins.
So you're saying that against what Pay's saying?
I'm saying if we both finish 10-7, I think the Vikings win the division.
Okay. Yeah. Which that factors into what you guys do with the rest of your games too. But yeah, that would be a nightmare in my eyes, considering how far up we were. That's a near failure.
To be 8-2 and default to that, it's disaster.
And to have a road game at that point, so we would definitely have a road game in the first. Yeah,
you'd be a wild card playoff.
That's a disaster.
I may be wrong. I'd have to dissect it, but I may be wrong. Yeah, but I think we would win because of the conference record.
And you got the 2 up on us. Yeah.
Well, even if we split our games,
then
but end up with a tied record, I think we win the division.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
The path for Minnesota,
we've got to win
wins
first.
Yeah. That's the other part of it. Yeah, for sure. But why not? Yeah.
That pessimism is strong.
No, I just it's not about pessimism as much as it's about how things have looked. Like, for all intents and purposes, y'all should have beat us both times.
Mm-hmm.
We almost gave away that Saints game, and we were up 21-0. Like, we have been trying to give away games for the whole second half of the year. Really, I'm trying to think, who did we just? When's the last team we just beat the crap out of? I don't even.
The
Chargers
wasn't even that bad.
The Raiders, that game was. I think that game ended up being a little bit of a rout, but you went to that game. That game wasn't a giveaway.
It wasn't a blowout, no.
Well, it was June that said your quarterback likes to get in the giving mood, especially this time of season.
Yeah, he's a
giver.
Yeah.
Old Saint Nick Goff.
Hey, the Packers affiliate tried to tell us that Goff wasn't it. He did.
But the thing is, like, we know that. Yeah. We know what Detroit needs and our desires. But he did pass for 4,000 yards last year.
He got busy at the beginning of the year too. He was
when Goff got here, the mind state for a lot of us was like, this is not the answer. You trading Stafford for Goff. That was just, it didn't bode well.
He gave us a glimmer of hope though, because he did lead us to 9-7 year last year, or 9-8.
9-8.
9-8 last year, and then we started.
He passed for 4,000 yards last year. So,
well, the amount of passing yards, wins and losses is what really does it for me. But
we're talking about wins and losses. The teams have wins and losses, but if your quarterback throws for 4,000 yards, that's something to look forward to the following season.
Yeah,
right. And you guys won so many games late last year.
8-2 finish,
so good.
Yeah,
and then started out so great this year.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why Detroit fans are a little upset.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for somebody who I wouldn't say I'm, digging in the weeds and dissecting you all's games from that standpoint. No, I'm a casual observer, as I am with all other NFL teams that's not the Bears. I don't watch the all 22. I don't have that type of time on my hands to go through all games to that extent. But I am peeking in, a lot on what Detroit's doing. And for me, it just seems like you just hit a rut. I don't think there's anything going on that is that would detail a problem with the formula. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's a long season. You hit a bump, things happen. That's how football is. Sometimes you hit ruts. I've seen it's been plenty of champions that's had 2-game losing streaks, 4 bad looking games in a row. I don't think this is a telltale sign for Detroit as it relates to your outlook for the season whatsoever.
You think if we lose to the Broncos, you think they'll be all right?
I would not go that far. I would not go that far.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that
what I am saying is that you're still going to be in the same. You're still locked. Let me not use the word locked in. You're still forecasting to be the 3rd seed for the playoffs, and you will still host the playoff game. And all it takes is this: you win that one. That's the only game that really matters. You win that one, a lot of stuff can change. Momentum happens. Lightning in a bottle happens instantaneously at that point.
It's almost like we're saying the same thing, though.
We are, but
that game, I'm with you on that.
I'm just saying from the last remaining games on the schedule. If they play out the way that you say that they might play out, if you lose this game, you'll only win 1 game left in the last 4. I don't see that to be the worst thing in the world. It's not good. It's not pretty whatsoever. It definitely helps out some other teams behind you, namely this one. And Dave, no disrespect, no, not leaving you out of the conversation either. But the path for you to lose your division lead is a lot. It's a lot going into that.
I agree.
Now, to boost you up, most of our beat writers, the ones that are, quote, neutral, and I do not fall into that category,
right,
believe the Vikings will probably go 2-2 over the last 4 games. But to me, I could see anywhere from 4-0 to 0-4, or 2-2 being just right. I have no idea. We have the talent to win games. We have some injuries, however, that we're dealing with. And then we're, like I said, we're on our 4th quarterback. So anything can happen. Pay is right. You can get hot in December. And I'm not just talking about temperature and going down to sit on a beach somewhere. I'm talking about football.
You got the Bengals, of course, the Lions twice. And then who's the other team? The Bears, right?
The Packers.
Oh, the Packers. Okay.
At our house.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a pretty sweet schedule to finish the season up, Dave. The only remaining schedule that I would think it was a little bit better than that is the Bears. The Bears have the Arizona Cardinals coming up. After that, they have the Cleveland Browns coming up this coming weekend, and followed by the Cardinals. And I think we end the season with the Green Bay Packers, or we play them week 17. I might be remembering that wrong. Yeah, we play the Packers week 18. And the game in between the Cardinals game and the Packers is the Falcons.
Oh,
so
yeah, you guys can win out.
We can win out. If that defense can play, yeah, you're right. If we continue looking the same way as we looked against Detroit, against Minnesota last time we played them, a lot of stuff can change in Chicago. I might have to pull back my fire everyone, stamp. I might have to tell, hey, go turn my tiki torch in. I'm not going to, run up on Palace Hall just yet. Like, you know what? Let's talk about it first. I might say, you know what? We don't need to draft a quarterback. If we do win out, a lot of things changes. But one game at a time. The Bears are traveling to Cleveland to see the best defense in the league. Myles Garrett and crew. Fellas, I'm a little worried about this one, to be honest with you.
Who is their quarterback? Joe Flacco?
And Joe Flacco is their quarterback. The corpse of Joe Flacco. They did demote him back to practice team this week.
He's not starting this week?
It's more of like a roster management move. But that did hit the news, the airwaves. Yeah, they after throwing 300 yards and what 3 touchdowns last week, send them back to practice squad. It's it's funny how they'll how the rosters have to be in this league. It's funny, but you all saw. I think his name was Alozier, or what's the guy's name that almost took Justin Fields' head off? What's the linebacker's name for the Detroit Lions?
Oh, if was it Iffy or Barn? It was someone on the Lions.
Yeah, Justin Fields took one step over the line of scrimmage and almost got decapitated on field.
I forgot who hit him. Was it Barnes?
But I don't think that was Fields. That was another game. We kind of missed part of that game because
no, I know what he's talking about. I think it was Barnes that hit Fields like that.
I think you're remembering it right, Joe. I want to say it was Barnes. I'm sorry.
Barnes has caught somebody recently. It may have been him, but yeah.
The reason I bring that up is Fields he's for all his talent, I need him to have his head on the swivel. I need for the Bears to not leave Borum or any of our tackles, whoever that may be, on an island with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is not of this world. he scares me. My quarterback takes unnecessary hits. He's grown accustomed to taking unnecessary hits this season, and Myles Garrett has a penchant of really hitting people and leaving them feeling less than. I don't need that for my quarterback. He's got enough on his plate. We need to figure out if he is our quarterback for the future. Please, I'm begging you, Myles, take it easy. You can just bear hug him. Just bear hug him. You ain't got to slam him to the dirt or anything crazy. Just bear hug him. I don't want to see that blue tent at all. come Sunday, please. As far as the game, though, the Cleveland Browns, I left them for dead multiple times this season. I do not know how they're still winning games. They're on their, like you said, like your team, Dave, is on their fourth quarterback. Cleveland's on their fourth. I cannot understand it. And again, they got Joe Flacco, the 2011 Super Bowl MVP. This is 2023 last time I checked. Why is he still starting games?
Why he's not using a walker yet, I have no idea. And he's playing well.
Yeah, he is. He is playing well. He might be the second best quarterback in the AFC North right now. So we don't know what to expect from Joe Flacco. I thought I would expect something pedestrian, but given his last two games, I don't know. The Bears defense is trending up. We are playing well. We did just lose Yannick Ngakoue for the season today, the ankle injury. So I don't know how that's going to play out. Montez Sweat has been a pleasant surprise. He had a lot of pressure. He gave Goff a lot to look at this past Sunday. The defense, Jalen Johnson, Brisker. Yeah. You know what? I get on polls a lot about not being frivolous enough with our future assets, but that's looking like it's going to be a good trade. We needed defensive end help. He went and got somebody, and he's born fruit early. I like it. The rest of the defense, Brisker, Gordon, Jalen Johnson, they're all TJ Edwards. They're all running around putting hat to ball. And look, if our defense continues playing with that type of intensity, we can beat anybody. I'm not too certain about the offense. The offense is always, I don't know. I know what to expect from DJ Moore. I know we're going to come out of every game with 125 plus rushing yards. But is that enough to win games? We will see. I want to see what Justin can do against a top flight defense. Detroit's defense has, for the last, however many weeks, has struggled getting pressure on quarterbacks, consistent pressure. Minnesota, we kind of knew what to expect with that. Like they're gonna send the house, and they kind of let us off the hook this last game. They didn't pressure us enough to end that game. They let Justin, sit back there and watch. So we got left the hook there. So our two-game winning streak would be tested against Cleveland because that defense is for real. All right. So let's see. You all, Detroit, you all play Denver. We just talked about it. Your most optimistic viewpoint of this game. What do you think? How do you think it ends?
Most optimistic, we get the dub. That's pretty much it. We, like I said, they're not a scary team. They're just a team we have to go out and if we play our game, if we play our best, then we win this game. So that's a very optimistic view. I haven't seen our best in a long time.
What's the line on the game?
I think it's -5, if I'm not mistaken.
Detroit -5.
I believe so.
The money say you all pretty good there. Well, I'm on DraftKings right now. Yeah, it's moved down a little bit. They have Detroit as a 4-point favorite.
Okay.
So optimism speaking. B, what do you see from Goff against that defense?
I'm calling for 300 plus yards in this game. I'm calling for 300 plus yards as far as Goff is concerned. A couple of touchdowns, him taking care of the ball, no fumbles, no interceptions. If he has an interception, he better have like 4 touchdowns, which he may or may not be able to do because we do run it in the red zone pretty well. We got Montgomery, so he tends to punch the ball in, so that would keep him from having as many passing touchdowns. But overall, us getting some turnovers. I can't remember if we turned the ball over, if we took the ball from the Saints, but no. And we didn't take the ball from Chicago. They fumbled. Yeah, they fumbled the snap, which, hey, we'll take it because we did get the ball back. We did get the ball back. So, we did, have to get the ball. So whatever. But I'm talking about a forced fumble, interception. So, yeah, on the most optimism, a couple turnovers from the defense, 300 yards from Goff, and anything else is golden. Obviously, 300 yards means Brown gets into action, Laporta gets into action, Reynolds, Raymond, Jamison, Williams for sure. Like, we all know what that includes as far as 300 yards. But I want to see us take the ball away. That's probably even bigger than Goff doing what he's supposed to do and what he's done for a decent amount of the year. I want to see the defense take the ball away because we know we're going to give up some yards. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. And Denver's defense has been extremely
improved.
Fortunate with their turnovers of the last 2 months. They've been living off turnovers. That's how this offense has been able to have short fields, and that's the story of how they've been able to turn their season around. I can see some of that happening. Again, Denver has been very has been very sticky, going to get the ball from other teams. If Goff's got to be on his P's and Q's. Dave, your guys against Cincinnati. You already said they're 7-7, lifetime against each other.
Right.
What do you?
Cincinnati's favored by 3.
How do you see this game playing out?
With an over/under of 40. I'm seeing it's going to be a relatively low-scoring, one-score game. One team wins either way. It depends. Like I said, we've got a few people hurt on the offensive line. O'Neal, Alexander Madison, who's finally started to run exceptionally well. He's out. And we have a concussion as well to deal with. It's going to be interesting, though, with JJ back and then Mullins getting his first start in years. I'm curious to see how it works out. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a toss-up either way. I'm hoping we've got by far the better defense. Offenses are about equal. It's going to be not must watch. It's not going to be as bad as last week against the Raiders, but it's not going to be one of those nail biter, it's 42 to 45 going with 2 minutes left. No, it's not going to be that, but it should be fun.
The way Cincinnati has utilized their playbook to, I guess, make Browning look good in the last 2.5 weeks, they've got him moving out the pocket. They're putting him in a lot of move the pocket situations, a lot of rollouts, a lot of boots, making the defense react to him more so than he has to react to what the defense is showing him.
He won't have the opportunity this weekend.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, Dave. Yeah.
Brian
You guys
Flores will have the answers. That's this defense right now is virtually unstoppable. It's never been done before. This is a new defense to what the NFL has seen, and there's been no offensive coordinator yet who's figured it out. They will eventually, but they have not yet.
If any team out there can keep Browning in the pocket and make him beat you from the pocket, and contain, give him a smaller window to decide where to go the ball. Because to be honest, he's only looking for one player. That's Chase. If there's any team out there that I have more than favorable confidence in doing that, it'd be Minnesota.
Well, we kept Fields in the pocket for most of that game. He wasn't allowed to run. We've been able to bottle up running quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting how it goes.
Yeah, I just hope it's entertaining. You all on Saturday, I don't have other games to go click in and watch. I need you guys to, to keep me from falling asleep. Yes.
There's one last game on the weekend we need to discuss, and that is the Green Bay Packers hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams are 6-7.
Yeah, that game. Yeah, you're right, Dave. That game does have some importance because I was just going to ignore it. But however, because Tampa Bay did beat Atlanta last week, they are now in the bird seat, no pun intended, of the NFC South. So that game has crucial meaning for all four of us who are playoff bound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do it.
Favored by 3.5, and it's expected to be a relatively low-scoring game with the over/under being 41.5 points. It is in Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the weather is supposed to be like.
Neither do I. I mean, if it stays, I would not venture out to say it's going to be a bad weather week. It's not looking like that way. At least all over the Midwest, it's been pretty calm. In fact, it's been pretty warm for this season. I don't think that's going to break anytime soon.
It says 40 degrees.
That's warm for Wisconsin in December.
For December, yeah.
So last week I predicted a Green Bay loss, and I got egg on my face. I don't want to do it again this week. Somebody else, you all tell me what's going to happen in that Tampa Bay Green Bay game. Battle of the Bays.
That's a toss-up game. I haven't watched much Tampa Bay outside of them playing the Lions, so I don't even know how Baker Mayfield's been playing. I could very well see Love bouncing back and getting back, after coming back home. Was the last game at home?
No, I believe they played at Atlanta this past
in Atlanta,
week.
Yeah. So I think Love is, and you said Watson didn't play, but he's probably not.
No, Christian Watson did not play.
Yeah, so toss up, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers got back on their job.
Don't need to hear that.
Well, I'm going to be rooting for Tampa. Baker Mayfield, I hope, this is motivation for him, that he comes in there, that he can, take a team to the playoffs, after so many teams discarded him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if we have a larger NFL conversation, there's a lot of teams out there that's looking for a quarterback next season. I don't think there's 15 definite quarterbacks as of right now. Baker, he's still relatively young.
Mm-hmm.
He leads this team to a playoff appearance. That's a job. That's a job he's willing to lock up right now. With all these quarterbacks coming in on the draft this coming spring, he can do himself a lot of favors, winning some games down in December.
Yes, he could.
I agree with you, Dave.
I'm hoping that's the motivation, and that Packer fans are crying in their beer.
I agree, Dave. I'm rooting for Tampa Bay this week. I would like to keep the Falcons out. That's another one of those teams who are looking for the quarterback. So
For sure.
the more teams that's looking to trade up in the draft, the better.
Yeah, as you sit on that sweet pick from Carolina.
Ooh, the sweetest. The sweetest. Love the Carolina Panthers this season. So I'm one of the only guys that I would predict a score for my team going into Cleveland. I'm not expecting fireworks. I'm not expecting anything outrageous. I'm not even expecting a win. I didn't believe they can beat Detroit. I thought Detroit was going to sweep us, and then they proved me wrong. I don't believe in omens either, but I will say I do like the way this team is playing. I got the Bears winning by 22-20. I'll take that. 3-game winning streak for the first time in 2018?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I'm not even sure about that. That's the first time that's the last time we had a winning record. So we probably won 3 games straight back then.
Wow.
You would think.
Maybe. Probably, hopefully. I don't know. June. Tell us where we can find all the great content coming out of Detroit for the Lions, Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers.
Yes, you can find all that wonderful content on YouTube, the Motor City Metrics channel, and just take a scroll down. And if you want to listen to us, we're on all the streaming platforms: Bleachers to Speakers, FFSN in the search, and also Post Game Podcast and FFSN. That's for your Pistons coverage, Detroit Pistons coverage. And we also we're going to do a show tonight on the Pistons after the game. So tune in to Motor City Metrics. Check us out there, and on those streaming sites if you simply want to listen.
I'm in the Killian Hayes fan club. I need him to get his act together because
Who y'all want for him? We'll take Kobe White. We'll throw in a second round pick.
No. Kobe White's the future of the Bulls.
Were y'all thinking that this year though, going into the year? Yeah, okay.
They were not. The Bulls were not thinking that, but as it so happens, he's the only guard that doesn't want to be traded, so we got to keep him.
We'll take Io then. Screw it.
Set it up. Let's get that going. Let's get it going. Dave, where can we get all that Viking content?
All your Minnesota Vikings content can be found at Vikings First and Skull on your favorite podcast aggregator. Doesn't matter which one, iTunes, Spotify, Google, whatever. We're there. If not, let us know. We'll get on whatever one you listen to. We're also found at Vikings First and Skull on YouTube, where we do our live shows. About half of our shows go live on YouTube. The other half are podcast only. And we have a written side over at fansfirstsports.com. All you got to do is drop down to NFL Minnesota Vikings, and you'll find that we've got a few writers that pump out stuff daily or close to it, especially when things are going well, and it's fun to see. And then, of course, you can find me, Dave, on this version of the NFC Roundup, and we'll publish this as a podcast on our feed, as well as Pay and June do as well. And we call it Who Will Be King, as we battle for who's going to be King of the North.
I appreciate that, Dave. Your monologues are the best.
Wait till next week, buddy. Wait till next week.
So if you like what you hear from a Bears perspective or just Chicago's perspective, you can always get your content from wherever you get your podcast on the audio side. That's Apple, Google, as long as Google's still around, Spotify, Stitcher, and the rest. We are located under the Fans First Sports Network umbrella as the Bear Claw Podcast. We are also on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. You can get all your interactive memes and get some other content. Not quips, but clips, reels, fan engagement, all of that sorts on those other platforms. Find us on YouTube at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan. You can find us on TikTok, the Bear Claw. Also on Facebook at the same name, the Bear Claw at Hallis Hall. Always a good time with you guys. I love it. Good luck this week coming up. I'm not extending that to the Green Bay Packers, though. Go Tampa Bay.
I agree. Go Tampa Bay. And as always, Skull Vikings.
Bear down.
Oh, yeah.